And now on to our graduates. The 133 individuals about to cross our stage represent 9 different nations and 5 different states. They bring to our community every possible point of view, the most diverse talents and virtues to be found on any campus, anywhere. But our graduates share much in common. Each is a living example of the values we hold dear, and each is the product of years of work and worry, caring and support from parents, teachers, families, and friends. This is a good time to say that they're worth every minute. Class of 2019, you truly make us proud. We've been moved by your stunning creativity in music, drama, the visual arts. We've cheered the sportsmanship, skill, and hard work that brought us athletic championships and personal bests, and the spirit that brought this year's Hunt Cup to Quill House. We've admired your works of high scholarship and watched you accomplish things we never could. You allowed us to share in your achievements, to take satisfaction in your growth, to wonder at your passion, talent, and simple human goodness. Now we look forward to watching you take the next steps on to college and to satisfying and productive lives. You'll be moving away from a relatively structured life built on school schedules and rules and family expectations. And in your new world, you'll be almost completely responsible for generating the routines and self-discipline to govern your life. You're well prepared for this, and you'll make the transition like all Hun graduates do. But along with your independence comes some pretty deep, lifelong questions. What things give you a sense of joy and satisfaction? Putting aside everyone else's expectations, what feels important to you? What and whom do you love? What jobs are you good at? How can you serve the world? These are fundamental questions about where you find meaning, your purpose in life. Your answers will never be final. They will evolve with your experiences and circumstances. But you need at least a rough draft in order to avoid just following the crowd or drifting along on currents and whims that really aren't meant for you. Life purpose sounds kind of heavy and perplexing, and it can be if you fixate on it the wrong way. But it may be simpler than you think. Let me tell you about someone who I think got this problem right and someone else who got it wrong. Residents on the Japanese island of Okinawa are known to have the longest life expectancy in the world. They live on average 7 good, healthy years longer than Americans, and more than 5 times as many Okinawans live to 100 years or older. I hope Dr. Fabian can confirm these remarks. Along with diet and other habits, researchers attribute this longevity to an Okinawan cultural focus on what they call ikigai, spelled I-K-I-G-A-I, which means basically, what makes you want to get up in the morning? Researcher Dan Butner recounts that if you ask Okinawans for their ikigai, they're expected to have an answer in mind. A 102-year-old karate master answers that his daily love is teaching martial arts. A 100-year-old fisherman answers that he loves bringing the daily catch home to his family. A 102-year-old woman says that her ikigai is simply holding her great-great-granddaughter, an experience she compares to leaping into heaven. It's a beautiful thought. Okinawans know why they get up each day. They spend time doing what they love. By distilling grand questions of purpose and meaning into the simple question, what makes you want to get up in the morning? They cut through a labyrinth of complexities and blind pathways, and that leads to lives that are happier, more serene, and perhaps even longer. Now on to someone who took the wrong approach to life's purpose question, and that someone, of course, is me. In my college years, I liked school, I worked pretty hard, I had fun, I met my future wife, which I have to mention, so they were great years. But I never thought much about purpose, except maybe to get good grades and to please my parents. After graduation, like some of my friends, I jumped into law school. Not because I knew the first thing about practicing law, but because I got in and it pleased my family and I had nothing better to do and it felt like the next rung on the ladder. And when I got there, I couldn't stand it. This is not to say anything bad about law school or the legal profession or to discourage any future or present lawyers who are in the audience today. Many of my friends loved law school, still love practicing law, and found in it everything that they could have hoped for a life's calling. But for me individually, it felt tedious and hyper-competitive and overly technical. Nevertheless, I stuck it out because the current was kind of carrying me that way, and it would pay well, and it sounded impressive to the people I knew. After 3 years of law school, I got a job at a good law firm, and it only got worse. It seemed like an excellent start to someone's life, but certainly not to mine. I leaned hard on sheer willpower and did okay at it, well enough to stay on the track, but I truly dreaded going to work every morning. After a couple of years, I realized I was at the bottom of a hole that I had worked very hard to dig for myself. But you can always find a way out. For me, it started with a wise person who gave me much the same advice I'm giving you today. At her suggestion, I wrote a long essay to myself about everything that had ever felt meaningful in my life, everything that had brought me joy and a sense of accomplishment, sort of a lifelong ikigai. I recalled working with young kids as a summer camp counselor and loving the spirit and energy of young people. And I'd loved helping freshmen adapt to college life as a resident advisor in my college dorm. I even remembered a temporary job I once had as a substitute French teacher for the magnificent sum of $40 a week. I was terrible at it. It was exhausting, but it made me want to get up in the morning. Somehow, until writing that essay, I had neglected even to think about where these obviously meaningful experiences were pointing me. Within a few months, after considerable anguish and indecision, I turned in my resignation and accepted a job as a high school history teacher. Almost from the beginning, I could feel that my new job gave me much more of what my soul desired. That was 33 years ago, and now I get to spend my days with amazing students and colleagues like the ones all around us today. And as I look back on it now, I think that essay saved my life. So class of 2019, my advice to you today is to live like an Okinawan. Keep careful track of those precious things that make you want to get up in the morning. Try to grow your life in their direction. Remember them when you hit a wrong turn or a dead end. Unless you're a philosophy major, you don't need to discover the meaning of life, but you do need to explore the meaning in your life. Find your own ikigai, and who knows, maybe it'll help you live to be 102. Those are my remarks for today.